Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are going to be looking at Han Solo for Star Wars Legion today. This is a unit breakdown. We're going to take a look at Han Solo, some of the changes that he has undergone over the years. He's seen a little bit of a facelift, although maybe not as extreme as as Darth Vader or certain other characters, but he still has seen a few changes. So if you bought this character years ago when he first came out and haven't really looked at Legion yet, we're going to give you another look at him, show you what's changed, so show you some different build options for him, and some good pairing options, and also look at his command cards. He's a very cool character who has honestly gotten better as the game has grown. So we're going to do a unit breakdown. Also going to be doing a giveaway for the 12 Days of Life Day that you won't want to miss. So make sure you watch all the way through. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the original Han Solo first. He initially debuted at 120 points, had low profile, gunslinger, sharpshooter, and sharpshooter 1, and uncanny luck 3. It came with command training and equipment, the 3 white dice for brawl, and then the two red dice with surge to crit, pierce 2, DL 44 at only range 1 to 2. He has a white defense die, which it's again not the most survivable for a commander, but considering that he has Surge for defense and Uncanny Luck 3, that gives him a little bit more survivability. It makes him last just a little bit longer. He has 6 health, which is not too bad, but only 2 courage, and he is a commander. Now, this was the original way that Han Solo had come out. Now, we will see points changes. That's always going to be something that we get. We're getting some in our current version, but this is always subject to change. So this is kind of how Han Solo should look now if you take the current errata into consideration. He's down to 100 points as of today in late 2023 when I'm recording this, but as points updates come out at some point next year, he might see some changes, but I don't predict any major changes coming to Han Solo. He is pretty much who he is now, although if they ever do another version of Han Solo, then that version might have a different points cost. This is sort of representing Han Solo as he was in Return of the Jedi, leading a strike team. That's why he's a commander here and not necessarily a scoundrel operating independently and not really caring about anybody. This is General Solo here. So he's down to 100 points, still has a lot of the same upgrades, but he was given steady, which is an incredibly good option for him. So let's talk about how he is now. So Gunslinger allows him to attack twice when he makes an attack action, which is really, really nice. He is going to be able to attack 2 different targets. You cannot attack the same target with Gunslinger. You also have low profile. When defending against an attack, if you have cover, you get to cancel 1 additional hit result. Now, this has been changed a little bit over the years. It's still, in a lot of ways, functionally the same, but the subtlety of the wording is important to notice. So the original version of low profile used to just say if you have light cover, you have heavy cover, basically. And now what they're saying is, yeah, if you have light cover, you can still get to cancel 1 additional die. But the distinction here is that if you happen to have heavy cover already, you're still canceling 1 additional die. So from a certain point of view, heavy cover plus low profile can equal sort of cover 3 in not a real way. There's no such thing as actually cover 3, but it does potentially give you the opportunities to cancel cover 3, although that can be canceled out by sharpshooter if you have the same level of cover that you have. So sharpshooter kind of is also given a counter to low profile, which he does have sharpshooter, giving him the ability to do better with that DL44, which is amazing, especially when you're shooting into other characters that happen to have suppression and then would otherwise have light cover and then would automatically cancel 1 of those hits that would have otherwise pierced right on through. So he's excellent for shooting into characters that already have suppression. So he's very good for that. He's a good cleanup character when those characters have very few health left. He also has steady now. Again, this is amazing for him. He's a speed 2 character, used to have to get up close and personal to enemies at range 1 to 2 to take that shot, and then hopefully he's in range to also hit another character with Gunslinger. It made him kind of hard to use effectively at launch, but with steady, he now has the ability to take two move actions and still get that shot off, which is incredibly good. Now, he doesn't usually need a lot of aim tokens, considering 2 red dice have a very good chance of giving you something that you want to see. He also has sharpshooter, so he doesn't usually, lose dice to cover unless he's shooting into heavy cover. He also doesn't lose, hits to surges because he's got surge to not only to hit but to crit. He surges to crit, which is incredible. That also means he can be effective against vehicles, although he's not really a vehicle shooter. But he can still get it done if you need to get it done. But he really he excels at taking down those tough units that have a couple of hits left, holding out for all of that stuff. So very, very cool character here. Also has Uncanny Luck 3. Uncanny Luck 3 is going to allow you to re-roll up to 3 dice when you are defending. This is a really nice thing to help those white dice with Surge for defense count for just a little bit more. It's excellent, especially if he happens to have heavy cover and low profile, and you're canceling. You can potentially cancel 3 dice, whatever else is coming in. You've got the Uncanny Luck there to hopefully cancel it out. He doesn't have immunity to pierce or anything like that, so he can still go down, but a lot of times you'll run him with Chewbacca, who can also protect him. We'll talk a little bit more about Chewbacca a little bit later, but overall, you kind of want to run Han Solo as a mid to close range commander who's kind of leading from the front, attacking with your troops, and also making great use of his command cards, which are absolutely fantastic. Now, before we get into that or anything else, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Folks, these are absolutely amazing. Get your last minute Christmas gifts in. If you still have somebody you have to buy for, head over to Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens. You can get gift certificates now. You can or order them something printed out and put it in their stocking, like wrap up like a little receipt or a picture of what you're ordering them. Say this is coming, or order it for yourself. Get for yourself. Start 2024 out in style with some amazing tokens. You can save 15% by using code Crabbok VIP. You're also going to get if you spend $35 or more and use that code, you're going to get a free lightsaber nunchuck Crabbok token. It's absolutely incredible. Great for marking commanders or marking bounty or marking secret mission and things like that. Also has a 5 on the backside for counting higher intervals of damage, and it's just a pretty excellent token. But you're going to love these tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check those out. They're pretty incredible. All right, I want to talk about Han Solo's command cards because I think while Han Solo is an effective shooter, he is not usually brought into the game because of his shooting ability. It's fine and it's good, and he's a hero for about 100 points, which is, again, where the Rebels tend to do well. Lots of heroes that are moderately to highly effective for a very reasonable cost. That's one of the big Rebel things, and Han Solo really portrays that. But I think his biggest strength is his command cards. They are excellent. Change of Plans, one of the coolest command cards in the whole game right here. This is a 3-pip and issues Han Solo and 2 units in order. It says, when this card is revealed, you may discard it to return an opponent's command card to their hand. If you do, return to the select command card step. That opponent cannot select the command card that was returned to their hand. So basically, this is a way for you to just veto whatever else your opponent is doing, especially when you know something good is coming. This is really incredible if your opponent has screwed up, or if you're playing somebody, if you're playing somebody experienced and they made a mistake, or if you're playing somebody, if you're both new and like they don't know that this is coming, which is kind of mean, but if somebody holds out on that amazing game-winning command card until the last turn, and then you play this, like if they're playing Palpatine and they have his 1-pip, and they have his 1-pip because they haven't played it yet, and it's turn 6 and Palpatine's in the middle, he's getting ready to do that, you hold on to Change of Plans, you play that card, oh, I'm sorry, you can't play that card, I guess you'll have to play Standing Orders instead. Absolutely incredibly strong card. Usually this, though, is not something that you hold on until the final turn, but usually the more you play this game, the stronger this card gets, because you're going to know enemy commanders, enemy operatives, people who have those really strong command cards. Maybe you're going up against Sabine Wren, and she just dove right into the middle of all your forces. You have a pretty good idea that Explosions is coming out. It's a perfect time to play Change of Plans. Now, granted, you also have an insurance policy here, because if your opponent if they bluffed and they didn't play that card, because both cards get revealed at the same time. You could always just say, okay, fine, let's go ahead and use change of plans. So, but when you get into the meta game, your opponent sees you have Han Solo. They know you have change of plans. So even by not playing change of plans, your opponent is like always kind of second guessing. Should I play my good card now? Should I play my good card now? Should I wait? Should I wait? Should I wait? And the longer you hold off this, the more stress you put your opponent under. So the threat of this card is very, very significant, almost more significant than actually playing the card itself. It's a very cool card. And with Chewbacca, you have the chance to get it multiple times too, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. His 2-pip is called Reckless Diversion. That's another incredibly cool card. This is Han Solo and 1 trooper. It's a 2-pip. When an enemy unit performs an attack, it must attack a trooper unit that has a face-up order token if able. This is a very, very situational, but when it works, it can be like turning the tide of a game. It's absolutely incredible. So this one is great if you have somebody who's like, maybe you've got a Luke Skywalker who had put himself out there and now is all of a sudden like, oh no, he could die this turn. Hey, let's do a reckless diversion. Let's protect Luke. Say you must attack Han Solo or somebody else. This is Han Solo and 1 trooper. You can either throw this on Chewbacca if you're running Chewbacca. You can throw this on a basic rebel trooper that is kind of out there somewhere, that's in line of sight of everybody. Because that's the key here, is you want to be able to put these face-up order tokens on people who are within line of sight. This can be, if Han Solo is close to death and this is your last command card for him, this could be one of those that you play like, look, he's going to go out, but he's going out in a blaze of glory, which is very much fits the artwork here of Han Solo being kind of like charging into stormtroopers and like, but he managed to get away. But yeah, because of his uncanny luck. It's so thematic. It's a very cool card. Again, it really shuts down your opponent who is trying to kill something. And this is really good when you think of the objective play. Well, because Legion is not just a death match. You may have somebody who's escorting hostages and running something away, and you're like, oh, whoa, hold on a second. Because it doesn't just say, if they're attacking a trooper, it has to go to a trooper. This can stop anything. You might have a vehicle that's about to drop off a bomb or some kind of, a vehicle that's low, or an ATRT, or maybe a speeder. All right, that is almost about to die. They're like, no, you can't attack that speeder. You have to attack this rebel trooper that isn't doing anything, or Han Solo himself. So this is one way to get Han Solo killed potentially, but it's really good when the time is right. Very cool card. And of course, what initially was one of the biggest surprise moments of the game, it's the 0-pip. Sorry about the mess. While building the command hand, treat this as though it had 1 pip when you're building the command hand. When Han Solo is issued an order, he gains an aim token and a dodge token. It's giving an order only to Han Solo. This is basically Han shooting first. Han Solo always shoots first, in the epic words of Will Wheaton, who kind of bears a lot of responsibility for bringing me into tabletop gaming, especially Star Wars tabletop gaming. All right, so very cool card. The important thing here is it does count as a 1-pip when you're building, because again, you can only have 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s. So it's going to take the spot of one of those 1s. But when you play it, it counts as having 0 pips, which means it's always going to win, except in the very, very, very rare case that your opponent has some shenanigans to increase the number of pips on your card, and then all of a sudden you have a tie, but you still could go first that way. This even beats Cunning, because Cunning lets them beat ties, but nobody who has Cunning happens to have a 0-pip. I'll say yet, because it is theoretically possible that should they do Grand Admiral Thrawn for this game, he might have a way to beat Sorry About the Mess. I could see that, and if anybody could potentially outwit Han Solo, well, it wouldn't be that hard to outwit Han Solo, but to outgun Han Solo, that's a tough one. But I think Thrawn's wit could beat Han Solo's shooting first. I think that's potentially possible. If not, maybe not beat it outright, but at least say no. Do something kind of like Han's 3-pip. Change of plans. Oh, whoa. Yeah, I know you're going to shoot first, but you're not shooting first now. I could see something like that potentially beating it. But it's a card that's very, very hard to beat. Almost nothing can touch it. It's one of the almost untouchable cards in the whole game. Very few ways around it. Very few counterplay cards to this. One of which might also be Palpatine, who is Palpatine's 2-pip that can say, all right, that's fine. Yeah, you can go first with Han Solo, but Or you can activate first, but I'm going to choose who you activate. So Han actually won't be able to shoot first against Palpatine. So there are some ways to get around it, but there's not really any ways to outright just flat out beat it, because it is a 0 pip. So unless somebody raises it to a 1, and then it still happens to win the roll off, which again, not something that's very easy to do. So it basically is your sort of your asterisk guarantee of going first, and that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, Han doesn't really need the aim as much. The dodge can be nice. Again, he needs some survivability help. But at the end of the day, this is really all about Han. Who, if you leave Han in a position where he's able to like gunslinger and take out your opponent's commander, or do something, or take out somebody who's holding an objective, and you just really need to go first, this is a great way to go. Or if you need somebody else to go first, Han might have the order, but if you need to pull from the bag or pull from the pile first, this is a good one for that. Ultimately, though, I don't think it's necessarily his best card. I think the other two cards are better. I think that 2-pip is situationally better, depending. But this 3-pip, I think, is his strongest card. But you can let me know if you disagree. I'm not saying this is absolutely definitively the best or the worst, but I would definitely say Change of Plans is the most widely used, and in the most games it will be more and more significant. Whereas Reckless Diversion is situationally amazing, and Sorry About the Mess is also situationally amazing. Whereas Change of Plans is pretty much always amazing. So I really like that card. All right, so let's move on to some different options for building Han Solo. So we're going to start off with his command upgrade slot. This isn't one that you absolutely have to run. Like, I think in a lot of builds, it's viable to run Han Solo without any upgrades. You can definitely get away with that. He is good enough. He has a good enough kit on his own that he doesn't need to have any upgrades. But that doesn't mean you should always run him naked. As he is not really doing a lot of shooting beyond range 2, he's also able to, do a lot of good leading of the force, because he is a general here. He has command. Command gives you some commander abilities. So he's not just a fighter. He's not an operative. He is also a commander. So things like improvised orders or strict orders are good ways to help support your troops. You may be running a diversified build. Improvised orders is good for that. It's good because a lot of times you have Chewbacca too, so you're not going to just run Han Solo and 6 core troopers and have full order control. Improvised orders is very good for that. Doesn't require a whole lot of special setup. Strict orders also can be very good for things where where maybe that person who's holding that objective has, needs to not panic, or needs to make sure that they can just rally the one so they can double move away with it or something like that. Strict orders is another option for that. Other potential options, aggressive tactics, I feel is kind of thematic with Han Solo, and depending on your build, if you're running a lot of units that can really benefit from the surge, aggressive tactic can work. That won't work on all types of rebels. Like if you're running more rebel veteran heavy, you may not want to do that. So that's going to be a little bit more build dependent, can definitely work with Chewbacca. There's characters that have no surge that could use it, so that depends on your build. Kind of like the aggressive tactics. So, and then also sort of thematic is Underworld Connections. I just obviously it's completely build dependent, but I think it's fun to consider themes sometimes. And Han Solo is a very cool character to be leading some mercs. Even though he is one of those characters that also fits into all of the battle forces that they have. If you are doing like a standard rebel build and you wanted to bring in some pikes or something like that, I think Underworld Connections can be a fun option for Han, or if you're bringing in other bounty hunters, or you're trying to, it'd be funny. It's funny thinking of him like, all right, I paid off Jabba, we're good. You okay to do a job with me right now, buddy? I feel that could be fun, but really, I any of these are all right, but I don't think they're absolutely mandatory. I think if you're going to put, if only one upgrade and one upgrade only, I think it's up close and personal for his training. I think it's one of the newer upgrades, works exceedingly well on Han Solo, but it's not the only training you would consider. Duck and cover is certainly an option. It's a way to make sure that you have low profile triggering. It's a way to increase his survivability. So up close and personal is if you're attacking a little more, if you're trying to play more of a defensive Han Solo, duck and cover is definitely an option. Another option to possibly consider would be Overwatch. If you are trying to take him and like park him behind cover or maybe out of line of sight, you're trying to block off an area and you're thinking of doing a standby action with Han Solo because you're not within range of hitting somebody with steady. Overwatch is maybe an option because of the fact that he is steady now. It's a little better on him than it would have been otherwise. Somebody can potentially move into range 3. Oh, you can't normally shoot them, but now you can move. And move can trigger steady. And steady can trigger gunslinger. And it's this beautiful little thing because this standby does give you a move action. Steady is triggered off of a move action and gives you an attack action. And thus, gunslinger happens and it's a beautiful world. So Overwatch might be something worth considering as well, but overall, up close and personal, really, really good option. Just happens to work with him in just about all situations. And if you're looking at gear options, again, this isn't one that you really need to put on him, but I always like recon intel for people who want to be up closer. Gets you just a little bit closer, and it's cheap. It's 2 points, super, super cheap. I also like emergency stims in case his luck fails him, because again, you're rolling white dice on this guy, and even with surge to crit, or rather surge to block, and even with uncanny luck 3 and low profile and sharpshooter, you could still just take one of those, those blasts that's just like, oh, I rolled all blanks and I re-rolled and got all blanks again. Well, am I dead on turn 1? Well, let's not rely on luck completely. Let's have a little ace up our sleeve, and emergency stims can help keep him alive that one more turn, and also help him if he does play that 2-pip where he's like, shoot me, because I actually have like kind of 2 extra hit points, especially if this is the last round of the game. I love it for that purpose. Some other options you might want to consider, since he is movement-based with steady, since movement is a little bit more important for him getting into range, environmental gear or ascension cables. They're now 2 and 4 points respectively. If you can afford the 4 points, ascension cables gives you a little bit more, but that really, since scale got nerfed really bad, it's really only worth it if you happen to play with a lot of height 2 terrain. And so that's going to depend on your tabletops. But again, all of these are kind of optional. They're not really big deals. Recon intel or environmental gear are good. I am always a big fan of emergency stims because I'm a sucker for it. But it's made a big deal in some of my games, but it is a little more expensive as well. So that's something you might want to think about. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't also talk about Chewbacca. Chewbacca is usually going to be with Han Solo. He usually is going to be there. First off, it's thematic, so of course you want to run Chewbacca with Han Solo. He also has teamwork with Han Solo, and he has a fantastic command card. So Chewbacca is usually going to be stapled at the hip to Han Solo. He is fantastic. He does have that surge to crit, but if you're running, aggressive tactics, you could get him a little surge for defense too. But the real thing here is the teamwork and the Guardian, right? He can help Guardian Han Solo. You're like, wait, do you even want to shoot Han Solo? Because Chewie's going to Guardian 3 of those. And once he gets enough damage, then he's going to become super crazy. So maybe just shoot somebody else. So when these two are together, a lot of times you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to shoot somebody else. Or hopefully I've got like a Darth Vader or a lightsaber person to go in there and just saber up Han Solo. And then hopefully Chewbacca isn't there to just be like grab him and start ripping Vader to shreds, because these two could probably take Vader. If they had enough support, I could see it happening. Teamwork is just an amazing ability. It means when one of them gets a dodge, the other one gets a dodge. When one of them gets an aim, the other one gets an aim. They just have to be range 1 to 2 of each other. So it means they're moving in together. Now you've got 2 heroes moving in for the same price as Darth Vader. You got 2 heroes that can now split up. They have their own command cards. And Chewie has this awesome Notorious Scoundrels card. It is a 3-pip. It only issues 2 orders, 1 to Chewie, 1 to Han. And it says, choose one of Han Solo's command cards in your discard pile. Return that card to your hand. And I love that card. It allows you to play one of his command cards twice. We talked about that with his 3-pip. Now I can potentially deny you a card 2 times. Wouldn't be able to do it on the exact same turn, but I could certainly play that, discard it, then we go back, then I play Notorious Scoundrels, boom, get it back, and now I can deny you a card 2 rounds in a row. It's insane. It's super, super, super groovy. And maybe somebody like Agent Callus would be like, hey, you know what, no 3-pips this turn, but he's awesome. He is awesome. Other ways to potentially pair Han Solo, since he's got such a strong attack, you might want to look at certain things that can give him extra dice. One option might be, again, we talked about the fun of possibly making friends with bounty hunters like Boba Fett. Since Boba Fett has the older version that can work with the Rebels now, I think it'd be super fun to bring Boba Fett along with Han Solo if he's got those underground connections, right? Even if he doesn't have them, right? You can run one Boba Fett, can't you? Will Han trust him? Sure he will, won't he? Won't he? But you have a card like Rule with Respect that can potentially give Han an extra die on one of his attacks. Now, that won't work on Gunslinger for both attacks. It'll still only work on one of the attack pools, but still having a 3-dice attack with with Pierce 2 is really cool. And so that can be a fun thing that has some thematic fun, if it's maybe part of your dream team for these two to kind of make amends, or it's this way to get an extra die out of him. You know, do a little bit more with some synergy for him. Kind of similar ideas if you're running Rebel Veterans. Again, Han works in both the battle forces, the Ewoks and the Blizzard Echo-based defenders, rather. So if you're running some of those Rebel Veterans and you're doing something like that, now you got fire support. Fire support would be really, really groovy to add to Han's dice pool. Now all of a sudden you got 2 red, you're adding 4 extra black into that. You've already got the surge to crit for Han. If you played a 0-pip, you might have an aim. It might actually come in handy if you're doing extra dice, right? But you've also got Pierce 2 on this shot. It's going to do some damage to somebody. So that can be a fun thing to do. Speaking of battle forces, maybe if you're running the Bright Tree Village Ewok battle force and you want to bring Chewbacca in a different form, you can run Chewbacca in an AT-ST along with Han Solo. And the cool thing about that is since it is Chewbacca, you could still play Chewbacca's command card. However, you will lose that teamwork ability because, again, hey, Chewie's off doing his own things. He's playing with his Ewok friends. He's kind of said, all right, Han, look, you're playing with your girlfriend in this battle. You can take care of Leia. I'm going to go ahead and be Chewbacca. And again, Leia's also a decent option, but it's not like the same kind of synergy that he has with Chewie because Chewie is just righteous and groovy. And also, if you're running Rebel Commandos with the snipers, I just, or any type of long range stuff, and this could work for a lot of different sniper type of units, because Han is a close range guy. It's a good idea to have long range stuff because you want to split up your build. You don't want everybody in your build to be range 2. Like I wouldn't recommend running Han Solo and like 6 fleet troopers, or Han Solo and all Wookiees, although that is a kind of a cool idea for theme. If you're running Han and Chewie and a bunch of Wookiees, that could be a fun thematic way to run it. But unless you're running bowcasters and have a little bit more range and stuff like that, you could with the new Wookiees you could probably make it work. But initially, when the Wookiees first came out, they were pretty much like a close range unit, and Wookiees do usually want to get close. So having stuff that can really cover your long range and let Han and Chewie cover your close range is a really good way to kind of make your list well balanced. So I put the DH-447 snipers in here for maybe if you're running like triple strike teams, which is usually pretty common. Stuff like that can work pretty well with Han. So this has been a little bit of a look at the Han Solo commander as he exists. Look, he's an ugly miniature. I'm not gonna lie. He's not the best. I'm not a fan of the trench coat look for Han. I want like classic episode 4 Han Solo. That's not what they gave us. But they're doing reprints, right? This guy's going to be reprinted at some point. This is going to be high up on my list of guys to look at. Now, speaking of things that are printed really, really well, I want to talk about our Life Day giveaways because we have a winner today, and our winner is going to win this awesome Luke Skywalker. This is Hoth Luke Commander. It's the super awesome limited edition. This was part of that COVID, like they didn't do the cons, so they did like a limited edition Luke. And so these I don't know if there's too many of these around anymore, but this is gonna be a Life Day giveaway. Wishing you guys a happy holidays, by the way. So thank you. If anybody, and to enter to win these, you just had to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, is how all of my giveaways go. Today's winner is going to be Cam Ward Art. Congratulations, Cam Ward Art. Shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com. We'll get this mailed out to you. If this is not claimed within 30 days, it's rolling over like anything else that goes unclaimed into Patreon and will be given out over there. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Always wash your socks. And have a great day.